Hello everybody, I hope you've had a fantastic Christmas and all of that junk. It is Screezilla here, and welcome back to some gameplay in the new Swedish tech tree in the SAAB 18, or the B18B1 I think it is, or A1, B1, A1, one of those two. Anyway, children screaming outside, I apologise about that. Damn children. So anyway, this is the rank 4? Or rank 4 version of the plane. BR 3.3 I think, off the top of my head, or 3.7, one of those two. And this is the slightly upgraded variant. Now, this version of the plane has twin 20mm guns, as well as a 13.2mm machine gun in the plane, and carries a fairly hefty payload of two 600kg bombs and then 8 50kg bombs. And I was just doing a bit of a test on this first run, seeing how much damage the 50kg bombs did, seeing what I needed to drop to kill a base, and seeing if I could manage to do it in 1/600 and all that kind of thing, just testing things out. Anyway, this is, I think, my first or... well, no, this is about my second or third game in this plane. So, not really played too much in it. But, it's going well so far. I've got about 3 kills in it in about 3 games, which is pretty impressive for a bomber. And that's because this thing isn't really a bomber. This is more of an attacker with a decent bomb payload. Now, the next version, the B2, I think it is, or whatever the next version is, I have that in the end of this video, it is purely an attacker, and it should really be in the attacker tech tree because it has a 57mm cannon in its nose and carries a pathetic 8 50kg bombs, so it's absolutely hopeless as a bomber. But as a bomber interceptor, or as a ground attacker, it could be quite versatile. It also has about 96 rounds of ammunition in that big gun as well, along with having a couple of hefty 20mm in its nose as well. So anyway, this match is going as normal. We're facing the Russians, which is great fun. No, sorry, we're facing the Germans. We're facing the Access team on this time, sorry, and we're with the Russians. So we're an allied team, of course, and that means the allied planes have all stayed nice and low to the ground. So obviously we get our arse kicked, which is always the way things go in War Thunder when you're playing with allies, because none of them ever climb. Now, I have spoken a little bit on this plane, on its prior model anyway, and it's a damn good plane. With its DB605 engines on board, this thing has a brilliant speed. It's got a very good dive speed, very respectable for its BR of about 450 miles per hour, which is bloody fast, and it has a lot of big guns. As you can see here, we're just doing a dive past of this 111, very nearly clip our wings. We managed to get past him. Now we've got to turn around and go back for another strafe of him using our 20mm. Now, the big drawback of the 20mm on this plane is you only have 60 rounds per gun, so 110 rounds in total, but they're relatively good 20s, so you don't need too many, and you can take out planes pretty quickly. So that's one plane down. Now we have a C202, a relatively dangerous fighter. Now we're going to show off the versatility of this plane as we get involved in a turn fight. The way this plane is set up is basically like a Mosquito. Think of this plane as a Mozzie. It's a bit heavier than a Mosquito, of course. It's a bit bigger than a Mosquito, but it has the same characteristics. It's got very good horsepower, it's got very good power to weight ratio, and it has very good guns. We get a nice crit here on his control surface, I think, with our 20s, and then finally take him out with the 3.7s, and he is down. He unfortunately takes out one of our planes, but we have taken 2 planes down, and one of those was a fighter in a turn fight. Now, the rest of our team have all managed to die, which is, you know, normal, and there's one guy chasing me, so I need to go and rearm at the airfield. The biggest drawback of this plane is the rear gunner. Now you have a 13.2mm machine gun in the back, of course, but it's a very limited arc of fire, and unfortunately this is the first plane to take advantage of the gunner view system of the tech tree as well. So you get that horrible sort of very enclosed gunner view, which is very hard to use, and I feel that Gaijin should allow you to have at least the option of choosing between the two views, because it can be very frustrating sometimes when you're in that first person gunner view. Now our A36 is going to crash, I believe, sometime soon, and it's going to be down to 2 versus 2. We've got a fighter, in space, because, of course he is, and we've got me on the ground having to take out their fighter. So I'm going to just keep going to my airfield because I do need to land, but it's a Focke-Wulf 190. This is a dangerous opponent, somebody I've got to really be careful of, and he is closing on me. Now, there is one bomber on their team, so it's Z1007, I think, off the top of my head. I've forgotten the actual designation of it now. The Kingfisher. Again, a decent bomber, but it's kind of got a little bit lost in the makeup of things. So we're just going to keep running, and we're just going to have to use our tail gunner at some stage on this guy. Now, as you can see here, the lovely view of the first-person machine gun, and it's not great. You just don't get that. The aiming just feels off, things like that, and it's very frustrating. Now, in game we've got 4 variants of this plane. The next one, as I said, is the big 57mm version, and the B1 and B2 do have, sorry, B1 and B, I don't remember the designation now, but they do also have torpedoes on board. So we get firing now with our guns, and we can see he's taking pot shots at us, we're taking pot shots at him, and we do get a critical somewhere along this line on him. We managed to take out his cooling, I believe, and give him a nice big oil leak, and he's chasing us over the airfield as well. But we've caused a lot of damage to this guy, and he is going down. So that is kill number 3 for us. And we didn't need the AA either, so I was pretty chuffed with that. And luckily, the fighter in the stratosphere does actually have a chance and takes out the Kingfisher. The A36 didn't crash, actually, it just was just a fair bit behind us. So 3 kills in a bomber. And that's really this thing. It's a very good hunter-killer. You can hunt down the enemy, you can take them out. Very good at bomber hunting as well, unless you're taking it on the America bomber, which is still extremely overpowered. But it has the firepower to really do a lot of damage. Now, one of the things this plane is missing is radar. There were versions of these planes with radar, of course, because this plane was built after the Second World War. The first ones came available in 1945. So you had radar. These things even had early operation air-to-surface missiles, as well as anti-shipping missiles. So very cool stuff. Anyway, let's head to the end screen. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, the SAAB T18B is an absolute beast of a thing. This plane is a monster, and as you can see, you can actually turn fight in it. This thing is very, very good. I expect to see the repair cost jumping up to around about, 30,000-40,000 lions when they have to nerf it, because this thing is actually pretty good. So 3 air target kills. That last one was a bit of a cheese, I know, but I had no ammunition left in my cannons and just a couple of 50 cal rounds left for my main gun, so not really much I could do there, and he took a bait, and, well, his own fault there, for sure. But 3 kills in a bomber, that's a pretty good game, would have been nice to get the ace, of course, but we're not going to try out too hard. I think the big thing to take from that is taking out the C202. Taking that out in an actual straight turn fight is a big thing. This plane also has ridiculous speed as well. When you're in a dive, it just holds on forever and does not break. So player statistics, we were 2nd place. with 3 kills and minor TNT to the base. For some reason that last bomb didn't hit, and I don't know why, so some sort of issue there for sure, probably just slightly outside the hitbox or some silly reason like that. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Number 1 did have 1 assist, of course, but same amount of kills as our leader. The enemy team had 1 guy nearly get an ace as well. But when your bomber's outperforming most of your fighters, that's a good sign. So 66k lines, and that's base, just with premium account. There was no boosters for that. I've got a 10% research point booster running at the moment as well, which has just given us a little bit extra. But I'm pretty happy with that one. So we got the bomber rescue, fighter rescue in a bomber, Avenger, and of course ground forces rescuer. So pretty chuffed with that game. Also got us a little bit of RP towards, sorry, excuse me, a little bit of RP towards our next plane. They have changed it, haven't they? I thought you used to get RP for lower planes, one plane, high plane. Oh, my brain must be fading or something like that, making it harder to grind, obviously. So let's just have a little look-see. 7.6 research points. Oh yeah, means I can actually be able to unlock the next set of bombs, which will be nice. So we'll just get the engine upgrade, bomb upgrade, because we definitely need that. Ammo, and might as well research the radiator. Yes, yeah, we'll research the radiator. Those 13mm machine guns, 13.2mm machine guns are very, very good, by the way. They are pretty hard hitting, as you saw. So you've got one 13.2mm machine gun nestled just here on the right side of the plane. So if we have a look-see inside, you've got that off-center, did I say 7.2? 13.2mm machine gun just there, just nestled slightly off to the right. And then you've got your 220mm at the front. Unfortunately, you've only got 60 rounds in each gun, so you don't have many shots with it. Rear gunner, 13.2mm gun again. The trouble with this one over the previous versions, so if you look at the other B-18s, let's just go to one of the classic ones, you can see there's not really much difference in this section here at all. However, with the with this one, the B-18, sorry, the T18B1, is you get the actual gunner cam, so you get that very poor point of view and you can't really see much, so it makes it a lot harder to fly, and it's a bit annoying. I really don't like that sort of first person camera they have for it. I sort of wish you could just turn it off. It's cool in principle, but it's also very frustrating as well. Of course, you have got the very famous DB605s on board, so you've got plenty of punch as well. This thing's a pretty fast plane when it's going for it. Payload is also really good. With the payload, of course, haven't unlocked them all yet. I've not got the rockets yet, but we get the 600 kilogram bombs. These are 2 of those are enough to take out a base, and then you can have the 50 kilogram bombs on board as well, just for a little bit of extra damage. What I recommend doing is actually taking out rockets instead of those 50 kilogram bombs. Taking out rockets instead, because then you can actually go for ground targets, things like that, and you have a bit more use. But those 600s are an absolute godsend, because it means you can obliterate at least one base. Unfortunately, you can only do one base at a time with this plane. Let's just up the weapons maintenance a little bit, because, as I say, you've not got enough payload for anything else, and that's really the issue for its sister, the T18B too. I keep putting TV together, which is in the bomber line, but I feel it should be the near attacker line rather than the bomber, because it really doesn't have a payload. If we actually look at the bomber payload, 50 kilogram bombs are the best bombs you can take, which is not very good. So you kind of don't have any bomb payload. You do have some decent rockets, but the main thing is you've got a honking great 57mm cannon on the plane. So if we just look at it, you've got a ginormous cannon on the front of the plane, so this will be fairly decent for ground forces when that comes in, or if you've got ground forces at the moment, because yeah, a big 57mm cannon with fairly good penetration is going to be decent. Yeah, as you can see, 72mm across the board, so fairly decent penetration power. You've got a tank cannon on board, and you've also got the 20s, and also you've got the 13.2mm there as well, and your gunner has got it too. But as I say, this is an attacker, it's not really a bomber, because it has no bomb payload. So realistically, I think they should hoot that over to the attacker line rather than have it in the bomber line. As I say, it just makes no sense. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've enjoyed flying this. This plane is possibly my new favourite bomber. It just really is an absolute beast of a thing. Speed-wise, it's great. Handling-wise, it's great. Lose a wing, it's fine. It will still fly, because apparently that's how planes work in War Thunder now. And yeah, it's great. If you're actually going to go for a Swedish planes, I recommend grinding out the bombers, because they are very, very handy and do a lot of damage, and the one big thing with this plane is you start off with no bombs, so you have to use your guns to get to your bombs unlocked, but as soon as you get bombs unlocked, this thing is an absolute weapon, and it is very fun to play. Alright guys, till next time, have a lovely day, enjoy your Christmas and all that kind of stuff. This is about as festive as my festive episodes will get, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.